Hi.
All right. This is awesome. I'm so excited to see you guys. I miss you. I miss you all. It's been a while. We don't
Do I
talk
need to
very
change?
much.
Ditto.
We don't
Do
talk
I
very
need to
much
change my
anymore.
name on here?
Yes, please.
Lord Business.
How about I'll just keep it at LSU Tigers, ranked #1 in the country, Nashville, Tennessee.
I think it's awesome that you're jinxing yourself. Let's see what happens in a couple weeks. What do you
I
think?
can't wait for basketball to start.
This is fun. This is fun. Good time.
Go team.
All right. So we are finishing out this book. How'd we do? How'd we do?
Did we all read?
Yes, I did. Did you?
Me too.
See what
I
did there?
listened.
I listen. I'm a
I'm
listener.
an audio listener.
Yeah.
It's my
So
love language. Is that one?
this is going to be fun because Tony is already on re today. He is on a
He's got
roll.
his light at the side of his head.
Oh, you guys. This is awesome. So let's wrap up. And we don't need to take the whole hour because I know you guys are so busy with your real estate careers. If we don't need it, unless we're just having so much fun together and we want to hang out more, which is fine. So
Is that an embedded command?
yes. Yes, yes it is.
Kitty's got other stuff to do, is what she's saying.
No, I've just been waiting on you guys. I'm excited to see you and wrap this up. I know that we delayed a week and we've gone on. What have been some of your ahas just in general of this exercise, meaning reading through or listening with a book with friends and sharing and having ahas together? What do you guys live in?
I think one of the big ahas, and I think we all do it to some extent, is like there's so many ways in here to be successful. I think you just have to get started and, have some sort of system or be able to create some sort of system. And there are a lot of things in here I am doing that I didn't realize was in here.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of other things that are like just completely different ways that might or might not work in certain markets, or things I might not ever do. But it's really interesting to see how many different profiles are in the book, and like it's also really interesting to see how this is basically the MREA book just for investing, right? So
Right.
I mean, I know that's what it's called, but it's like all the stuff with regard to like time blocking and waking up in the morning and doing your thing and having systems and processes for finding properties and having your team. Not like your internal team, but like your team of people that help you, property managers and bird dogs and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah, for me, I was just with Jenny in South Florida Mastermind for Keller Williams, and we had the pleasure to hear Jim and Linda McKissick talk during a lunch and learn. And, they said, we didn't get started till we were 40, and we did the math and we figured out we had to be at this amount to be able to create the wealth we needed to, start what we wanted to start. So that hit home to me because, we're all roughly that age. I know some are younger. I don't want to hear it.
Definitely some are older also.
Yeah. So anyway, for me, I was like, wow, I've kind of wasted some time, not to say I haven't invested at all, but not to the level that I should have been investing. So I really appreciate.
Yeah, but you were investing. You were just investing back into your traditional real estate business I mean, at least for me, I was putting all my money back into my traditional real estate business for several years. And I look back on some of those years and go, dang, I missed some really kick-ass opportunities to buy real estate investments. But I think what I see a lot of people do, I was looking at somebody's profile the other day that submitted their resume to join our organization. And I mean, they had like 7 or 8 different job titles on their LinkedIn profile. And it was like, they're all just overlapping. And it's like, Jill of all trades, Jack of, master of none type of thing. And I think that you spend a lot of time putting money and systems in place on the front end so you can go fast forward your real estate investing piece of your business if you want.
Yeah, correct. I'm not saying, so basically I just feel like a sense of urgency, if you will, on, from now in the next 20 years, what that plan should look like from a real estate investment standpoint, and really get focused on that. So doing this, the MREA series with you, or MREI series with you guys, has kind of gave me that push. So I appreciate that. And I think, Jenny, you came up with the idea. So originally, or was it Jess?
I think we had the AHA together in one of our one of these calls. We were having Zoom, and it just came up that
But I appreciate the idea, and it got me to read it again. And I've read it in the past, but I'm in a different place than I was before. So it's pretty eye-opening what needs to happen next.
It's just really cool. And my AHA would be that it's like everything, your RAS, or reticular activating, whatever the S is heightened.
System.
Thank you. And see, I'm allowing you guys to finish the sentence for me. I think I should be a bold coach, right? You guys can help me out. And so that it just heightens our awareness of it all around us. And so many times things have happened since we've started reading this. For example, we just did a all city meeting, Keller Williams meeting, and different tables were set up with different agents that spoke on different topics. And Jessica Scott, an agent here in our office, was the one leading building your own wealth in real estate. And it was all of this. And she was sharing all of her secrets about how she's had success. And I'm just was eating it up, and I needed more than that 15 minutes, And so because I shared that with the team leader, hey, Jessica killed it. That could be a whole day class, or at least more information. So just by me passing that on to the team leader, now we're going to have a book club in our market center. She's going to get to present again, because we all need to be building our own wealth. And my last aha, well, I'm sure I'll have more, is really about any book I've ever read from Gary Keller. And of course, we're all raving fans. I'm getting something out of it. Even if I didn't get into action with anything here in this book, I've learned something or thought differently. And that's just what
I think this is supposed to be a manual, just like the MREA. I can't say that I've read this more than skimming through it before this time, of like accessing certain pages of it. But I've read the MREA book probably 10 times. Mm-hmm. And I swear there's things in there that I've highlighted different colors and underlined. And I'm like, that was not in the book the last time I read it.
Yeah.
I think a big piece of it has to do with, the idea that you're always in a different place in your business, and something just slaps you across the face when you read it, and you're like, oh my God, it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't want to stop reading this book. I wish there was even more there. It was super inspiring, and I did get into action with a bunch of things because of it. So I'm very grateful. And it's all stuff I've been like sitting on the fence about and nervous to do. And then I just said, screw it. It's time to do it. Why am I waiting? And Jean Rivers, they inspired us so much when we were there for family reunion. I mean, for Mega Camp. And I just felt like if they can do it, there's no reason that I can't finish what I started. So I think it's important to keep doing it and set a goal for the following years and how many you want to do, if you want to do them, and how you want that to look. Really making that growth plan for your family is, I think, the biggest thing that I took away from it.
And I'll add one other thing, Jenny. Just, I think we talked about it last time we were on, but if we're helping hundreds of families per year, how many are we telling about real estate investing, and how can we change our clients' lives through the knowledge we have in this book and real estate? And now it almost becomes an obligation to pass it on. So we're going to have that part of our system for next year, with challenging our own team for every client that we're working with, a certain percentage that at least end up buying an investment property, or their goal may be a year or two out. But just to have the conversation, and then we'll provide the book that they need to do that.
So on Sunday, when I was reading the rest of this, I ordered 2 cases of these books. And I think that these, I would say all of our teams and most people that are watching, the 2 people that are watching, I would say that there are at least, whatever the number is, like for us, we'll do 220 transactions this year or whatever it is. I would say we probably are missing 25 or 30 or 40 deals a year just from the traditional real estate that we do. I would say we're missing 25 deals a year just by not having more conversations around, hey, do you want to find investment properties? And I think, part of it is I think everybody on our team should own an investment property, and that would make the conversation a whole lot easier. Because if you own an investment property, you see the numbers coming in, you know what you had to pay for it. You had to go through that process at least once. It's a little bit different with your primary residence when you think about it like that's my home versus this is purely an investment.
Yeah.
So I bought a couple cases to give away to business owner and referral sources of mine. And then from there, I'm going to distribute some to the team to give out to people that they think have raised their hand or wanted to have a conversation about it.
That's smart.
My goal was to give those books to financial planners in particular, and even estate attorneys as well, that they can hand out to their clients, because I think you want to hit a bigger population and have people be your raving fans. So because I did that with a couple different financial planners, I have 3 of them right now that are calling me daily about investment properties. So I think it's huge.
Yeah.
What about even adding investing or wealth building to part of our mission statement or part of our promise to our clients? Just adding that phrase in to make sure that we're nailing it.
One of the scripts I think that's really huge too, whenever, even just with, it's a script that we add, quick little line, any conversation we have about a listing appointment. At the end of it, are there any other pieces of real estate I can help you with today? Have you considered investing?
Well, to me, it goes back to the elevator speech, when someone says, well, what do you do? And, well, I'm a realtor. I've changed it to, we create wealth through real estate, and it's really what we do. And that's much more exciting than saying you're a realtor.
Yeah.
I like saying I make dreams come true, but that's me.
I like that too.
I thought that's what Disney did.
Exactly. The Disney of real estate.
All
I
right,
love it.
let's get into the book.
Let's go, Josh. You go ahead and lead it off.
That's not really what I meant, but okay. Go ahead, Jess. I mean, I'm going to really jump around in this section if y'all want me to start, because
Yeah, go ahead. Because I listen, so I don't have notes. I don't have things highlighted. But
The very first thing I have on it is huge. When they were talking about the analogy of the trees and how they grow in a forest with upward or outward combinations of their roots and how they go for the light. I love that example because I thought it was really, some trees try to attempt to be taller than those around them. Others try to absorb all the nutrients so they can grow upward and outward. And it was a great analogy to think of how you could be really outthinking your competitors in business, how to create wealth for the rest of your clients and how to build it for yourself. Just a visual. I know the people that are visual, that was really good for me to see that one. Sorry, Josh, I'll let you go.
Love it.
Yeah, I think just kind of skipping over some of it, I think the first couple of pages were really good. Like just little things like most people don't know what it takes to generate meaningful amounts of unearned income. And so there were a couple of graphs on 313 of how much money on your regular job you'd have to make, which would be, just under 1.56 million, 1.6 million at that current tax rate of 35%. And then it kind of shows you what you'd have to earn to invest for 1 million in annual income from other stuff. But I think the big piece for me was just as you went through later in it, page 320 and 321, I literally highlighted this is what I highlighted just on 321. Isn't it pretty highlighting? Anyway, it's anytime an investor reaches the 20 million equity mark and it's achieving at least 5% annual appreciation, that investor is in effect getting 1 million a year in tax-free income if they wish to pull it out, which is pretty awesome. A little further down is just kind of talking about, will your criteria allow you to buy for less and achieve more? And I think I mentioned to you guys the think in units piece, the last paragraph.
Yeah.
So just I've kind of quit investing. I never really invested in single family stuff, but I did some duplexes and triplexes. And I really, for the last year and a half, have just bought like the smallest thing I bought was 17 units. And I think that I highlighted that because I don't know that I really thought of it this way, but I think it's good. It's just talking about moving up to and always top grading your investments.
Mhm.
Just like we talk about top grading people, it's like going through and finding bigger and better investments and being able to accelerate depreciation and write more things off on taxes. And it's all kind of in one place. You can get a better deal on property management. It's kind of like going to Sam's or Costco with regard to like having more, you get to negotiate more with your property manager on not having to pay 10% maybe. Yeah. So.
Actually, I want to add into that because in the McKissick's summary back here, Josh, on page 391, that's actually what Linda says, is that she wished they had learned earlier on about how to exchange smaller properties for 8-plexes and learned more about apartment units. Mm-hmm. So that in their hindsight, that's where. Yeah.
And so for me on the sweet spot has been like just kind of looking at our real estate market in Middle Tennessee is the idea like, I think once you get over 50 units, you're probably playing a little bit more in the big boy arena, like the commercial real estate and like more funds and stuff. So I've kind of been looking at 10 to 50 units. Like that's who I've kind of been calling and marketing to. And I think that most of those units are probably too big for like your typical investor that wants to buy a duplex or triplex, like 2, 3, 4, 500,000. So once you get over the million and under the 5 million, I think it's kind of the sweet spot that kind of gets left where nobody really wants to mess with it. At least not from a agent perspective or from an individual investor perspective. So we've had good luck between that. We've been marketing to 10 to 50 units. So
great.
Yeah. So
I think one of the other things, just very simple, was originally on 312, choose to apply cash flow to paying down debt and therefore accelerate your equity buildup. Others tap into their equity or save their cash flow to reinvest in other properties. A few take the cash flow as it comes, leave their equity where it is, and let time do its thing. I'd add one other thing to that. If instead you didn't necessarily pull it out to put into other properties right away, but put what you net as into another investment vehicle, whether that's a stock, bond, or some sort of investment fund, and let that build. And when the time is right, pull it and put it on the property that you want, then you're earning more interest on that instead of letting it just sit in the bank, which I have done. So that's why I'm saying that. I like sitting in the bank, but it's safe and it's not smart.
I really love page 322. I'm going to find out who Investor 34 is.
I know.
I'm going to find out. I got some contacts. I'm going to find out. Dang it. But I thought it was really cool in the start of the second paragraph. Like, just the idea of him. He was buying $50 shares that were valued at $100 and $150 when California's values changed. He basically just went in and found these lists and was offering to pay people money now for their money that was tied up for the next 5 years in a fund. And he was like, I don't need the money now. I mean, like that just proves that you can get started with $50. I mean, I know it's changed a little bit, but like you can work different, get creative on financing and get creative on finding deals. Like a lot of people go, "Ooh, I don't have the money." Well, you know what? If you find the deal, the money's flowing right now. Go find the deal, bring it to somebody that has a shitload of money that doesn't have any time to go find the deal, and partner with them. Like that's how you get started with like good mentors and bring them the deals. You don't have to hit a home run on your first 5 or 10 deals. You have to get partnered up with somebody that'll teach you by you bringing them deals, and you just latch onto them for everything.
You partner in wholesale. There's a ton of different options with that.
There's so many ways to do it. Yeah.
I was just going to say, this sounds like you on page 323, the last paragraph. Investor 34 works about 20 hours a week. He doesn't carry a cell phone or a pager because I want to be connected when I want to be connected.
Yeah, I guess.
By the way, when I got into real estate, I had a pager.
That's awesome.
I did in 1998 too.
I had a pager in high school. I didn't sell drugs either.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that this is kind of cool because like people talk about real estate investing all the time. and there's like this analysis paralysis of getting started, and oh my God, I don't want to make a mistake and I don't want to do it wrong. And I think you just, at some point, you either have to do it or you just be okay with sitting on the sidelines.
The page 322, I highlighted this one line here, and I've highlighted like crazy everywhere else. Literally, our goal, because it's my philosophy too, our goal is not to be the biggest company around, it's to be the most profitable.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And I think we look at a lot of agents, we look at a lot of businesses that look from the outside like, wow, they're super successful, they're doing great, they have a ton of deals, they have a ton of people on their team, and their expenses are crazy, and they're not making money. And why are we in business? To make money, to give back, to create the lives we want. And if we're not doing that, then what's the point? So your ego can stand out.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think being the most profitable is smart.
Yeah. One of the other things that we've done with all of our profits. So going on to the same guy, page 323, or girl, whoever investor 34 is, probably, even though it says him and his wife, but yeah.
Had to.
So,
No, I didn't.
yeah. Okay. So just like, rather than treat the money as income and consume it, they've reinvested directly into real estate. I don't touch a single penny from any of our rental accounts, any of our investment accounts. It doesn't, we literally don't touch it. It all goes back into reinvesting into something else that is income producing, or equity, pay down or build up or whatever it is. So.
Yep. We follow the same suit. And ours are on a much smaller.
There's just no reason to touch it. I mean, I guess if you have a certain amount, then great, but I just don't see a reason to touch it right now.
Well, if you're taking a certain percentage out from every, depending on how you look at it, but my idea is just take a percentage out of every single commission check, and that just goes into the fund, get to 20%, get your next one. And that tells me when I need to get my next one more than anything else. And then you just keep going. And
yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying purely from the money that comes in from tenants on any of our apartment stuff.
yeah,
That is in a separate account. It sits in a money market account until it builds up to a certain point, and then it could be another month or it could be 18 months. Depends on when I find my next deal.
sure.
So I'm talking about that piece. But yes, every one of my commission checks, a piece goes into the tax account, a piece goes into investment account, a piece goes into these different places like
profit first.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tony,
I pay myself 30% on, it goes directly into the investment account.
Yeah.
Tony, how much fun was the author Mike Michalowicz from Profit First? How much fun?
Yeah,
was
he's great. That
interview?
was the second time I've seen him speak, and I can't help but think, like, how many people are actually going to do this, with setting up all the accounts, and it's so simple though. And why wouldn't you do it? So that's definitely on my hit parade, because I definitely didn't implement everything. I had most things similar, but I could go much deeper myself. So I'm going to be adding those accounts.
Josh, with the 30% that you take out for your deals, do you take it just on your deals? Do you also take it on the team splits?
Every deal.
Just yours.
Every commission check I get.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I do it just on mine, so I should do team too then.
Why would you just do it on yours? I mean, as long as you have enough money to pay, as long as you have enough money to pay the operations of the Anderson Group that you're a part of, so as long as you're paying like X amount of dollars goes to your tax account, X amount is going to the operations, salaries, all your monthly expenses for your business, and then you pay your personal expenses, and then you're living on, and then you're but I'm doing mine first. Like, I'm paying myself on every deal first, because if you wait until the end, you'll find other stuff and you won't ever pay yourself.
Yeah, I know. No, I do it on my own. I just don't necessarily do it on the team split deals, so I'll do that too.
Then you'll look up and you're like 46 or something like that, and you haven't done anything or something. Yeah. So,
sometimes I think he actually does feel bad. I'm not sure.
No.
No.
Yeah.
That would require a feeling.
Yeah.
That would require a soul.
Gosh, now we're killing it today.
Bring it, Joshy.
I had a
All
feeling
right,
that
so let's look at
Let's keep
the
going.
figure one on page 345. Putting it all together.
Whoa, we're jumping over here.
Are we? Okay. What else do you have?
I mean,
Um,
certain quotes from that investor 34, I think he's my spirit animal. It really wasn't about the money, he told us. I wanted to set my own schedule, and mostly I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
huge.
Yeah, we can jump over there. I just a lot of this stuff between 324 and like 333, I think is a big piece of like MREA. Like,
Mhm.
the last thing you give away is your lead generation and being the listing agent, and the rest of it is like operations, administrative, acquisitions, things like that. Like all that stuff can be hired out. Your property manager, you might be the property manager on your first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 deals. After that, it's time to get a property manager. Like there's no need for any of us, and probably most of the people on here, to be taking calls on a broken HVAC or a broken toilet or whatever. So,
But it's also, I think on that part, it's not a bad idea to have that
know how to do it.
experience.
No,
To have that
definitely know how to
experience.
do it. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
married the
for
guy
sure.
that did. I'm lucky there.
Yeah, but at some point, like you're doing all this to not be able to have to do that. So at some point, it's like, you just buy the deal 7 to 10% better than where you need it to be, so you can justify paying
Right.
the property manager. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Jenny, you on 339. The only thing I really highlighted on here, because I love baseball, and he just at the very bottom, he just said Jeter never took his eye off the ball, and it was one of the greatest plays of all time. And it's basically just like bringing that back to like your lead generation efforts and your systems and processes. Like you got to remember why you're doing this. And a big piece of like talking about, Bill Gates and all these people giving all this money away, and that like they've got it figured out. So.
Yeah, I think that anyone can do it, not everyone will whole section is very inspirational, and just the reminder that we can learn all this, and not getting into action is what the majority of people do. So in order to be different and stand out, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give
I
it
can like
focused time and focused effort.
on 342, I can just like hear Gary saying like, when something breaks, always think repair first, use second, and new last.
Yes.
I'm just like, yeah, got it. Anyway.
Yeah, and he just gives you the plan. I mean, there's your checklist. Stage 1, establish your base camp, protect your future. I mean, it's just like you said, it's a workbook.
Avoid debt.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So putting it all together is like the 345. Just
Mhm.
really, it's like the knowledge, the focus, generate the leads, convert suspects to prospects. There was also somewhere in here like knowing the difference between the suspects and prospects. One will waste your time and one will make you money, essentially. I don't know where that is. I kind of highlighted it.
I think 342, the protecting your future, is huge. I don't think enough of us talk about that, both with our clients and ourselves.
Yeah.
Set up your emergency fund, purchase your home, obtain adequate insurance, create an estate plan. So talking about, I think we mentioned it the last time, talking about estate planning, set up trusts, set up LLCs, talk to people that are smarter than you.
Did y'all go buy the book that I recommended? It's really pretty short and good. It's What Would the Rockefellers Do?
Oh, I bought it and forgot that I bought it.
Tim has been reading it, and he called me on Friday of last week and was like, I just had like all these ideas from it. And it's just a really good book. Like the summary, I haven't finished reading it, but the summary piece that I got in like the first 10 pages was they were comparing the Vanderbilt family and who else? It just like completely slipped my mind. Anyway, I was talking about there's no Vanderbilts. The most notable Vanderbilt family member is who's the guy, news anchor, Anderson Cooper.
His mom,
Yeah.
Gloria.
Yeah, but nobody in their family has money, like from the standpoint of compared to the other family that has hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. between multiple family members. Starts with an F, and I keep thinking Forbes, but it's not Forbes. It's anyway, yeah. Just talking about like setting up trusts and wills and like skipping generations and being able to use the trust only for education or masterminds, specifically said masterminds and education. And those generations have to pay it back, and they can pay it back certain ways. They can start, it's basically just not giving your heirs all your money and say, you're rich, do whatever you want with it.
Well, so I saw Kevin O'Leary speak at the Ascend event. He's one of the guys from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. And literally when we got to ask him questions, because we had a private lunch with him, he literally was so awesome and dynamic, and was very simple in saying, hey, look, when I graduated college, my mom said, bird in a nest never learns how to fly, and cut me off from anything. And she was a single mom that had tons of money, but we never knew it until she died. And he said, so now my kids, every weekend, you know, I work like a dog all week, and every weekend I say, hey, if you guys want to go anywhere in the world, we'll go this weekend. And the funny thing is they go, but he said his son one day asked him, hey, Dad, why do you get to sit up front with, you know, the great lunches or dinners they give you and the blanket that you get up front, and why are we always in the back? And he said, well, you didn't earn it yet. And so he said to any one of his kids, look, you know, I'm here to take care of you, but once school ends, whether that's high school or college, and it's all on you, there is no more. So period. So he's set it up so that same thing with these kids, so they can appreciate it as long as they have, and then they have to earn it themselves, which I think that's really admirable.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Well, it's a fine line with parenting. You know, you want to give your kids everything, but yet you know that's not going to be good for their future. So, you know, parenting's the hardest thing out of all this, right?
It is, and you know what, that it made me think about my own parents. And I remember in high school being a little bit jealous because a couple of my girlfriends would always get 20 bucks thrown at them or whatever they needed to go do stuff. And I worked, whether it was on the farm, waitressing, wherever, and literally, I think I probably got 20 bucks maybe twice the whole time. And otherwise I used my own babysitting money or whatever it was. And then I thought about the amazing lesson my parents gave me. And that was that I could take care of myself and anybody around me. So I even took care of them when my dad was sick. And what an honor that was. And then I look at some of my other friends who they were the ones that always had their cars paid for them or the 20 bucks given to them. And I thought, I feel so bad for you because you don't have the same lesson and the same grit and hustle. And it wasn't that my parents didn't have it, but they wanted us to earn it. So, you know, I do the same kind of stuff with my kids now. And they're little, but they can earn it. They can do stuff, and they can learn to help and work as a team.
Sure.
Yep. Anything else? Y'all just got quiet after that.
Well,
I just went internal, just actually thinking about all of us individually. I mean, I know Josh and Jess, your backgrounds. Tony, did your parents, I mean, did you have a job early on? And
I've worked for everything I've ever, I have very, very humble beginnings. So yeah, very much.
Isn't that interesting?
Paid for my own school and all that stuff. But yeah, but I've learned to work. And again, my parents could have, it's not like they couldn't help me more. It was the work ethic they wanted me to have, you know, that's carried into today. And my
sometimes that's purposeful on the parents' part, and sometimes it's not. It's just survival. And so I think that's
one of the things
that we all end up in this field, right?
That's kind of one of the things we talk about a lot is like my dad's best friend. They also have 4 kids. Yeah. So they turned out very, very differently than my siblings and I. And we hung out with them all the time. And I go, what did y'all do so different? Like, and you know, there's definitely things, but it was just interesting to see. Like, I don't think my parents, I don't think they necessarily had the money to like do more with 4 kids. And it was like, you work on the farm. Everybody works on the farm and you do your thing. And we didn't get allowances or any of that stuff. It was just, So also moved out when I was 16. So yeah.
I think that's important though.
You get to work, right?
Yeah. So
well, any final, this last section I just thought was, you know, putting it all together was really the whole last section is the summary, putting it all in a pretty little package for us.
I thought it was important. They said, don't become house rich and income poor. The real key to freedom here lies in putting your payments on a fast path to owning your home free and clear. Some might disagree with this advice, but as a real estate professional who has seen both sides of this argument, I say do it. 2 extra payments a year and a 30-year mortgage pays off your home in 20 years. Do the math. Mm-hmm. And I've always felt that way too. And I know sometimes I get looked at like, oh, why do you always do this? You should reinvest. And I know that, but you know what? After also being somebody who's had experiences with, traumatic accidents with my husband, losing multiple parents, early, being able to have that protection, that level of protection is also something that's amazing too, because you know what? Something could happen to me at any point. And I know that the way I set stuff up, my husband should be okay taking care of everything, right? And he won't earn anywhere near what I can earn doing what he did. And yet, because of how we set it up, he'll be able to handle it all.
So this, obviously, investing is one way to have passive income. And Tony and I were at that mastermind, and another topic that went right along with the McKissick story is their profit share passive income. And I thought that was enlightening. Didn't you ask them a question, Tony? What was your question of how to build that piece as well?
Well, I asked them, I think it was 2 layered. So one was, from a property per property, and I think I was asking single family, what did they want to see as a return? So they said, well, we were 40 when we started, we wanted to be done when we were 60. So we just did all the math and we figured out it needed to be a 200 net per month on a 15-year mortgage for us to have it all paid off with the amount of equity we wanted at the end of 20 years. And so that was, for me at the time, I'm like, I have never really thought of it like that, on what's the total amount you want at the end rather than, per deal to accumulate as many as possible. So I thought that was a great way to think of it. And then the profit share, what was my question on? Do you remember, Jenny?
Did it have to do with inviting them to events and trainings, or?
Well, I think it was their main strategy, and it was just really staying in touch. And she gave some examples of some agents that took 12 years to recruit them to Keller Williams, and just essentially she said invite them to educational things. And I know Jess preaches that all the time too. And so very simple but very purposeful. I think she said she had it time blocked 2 hours a week in her schedule they net 1.5 million for profit share. That's just incredible to me.
In a year.
Yeah. In 1 year. Yeah. And just, they're very, very humble, and I love the McKissicks, and I've seen them speak several times. So they're awesome.
And if you hear how many people they actually have in their first line, it's
not that many.
I think they said 60 or something like that.
Which is a lot more than you actually need, but it's still not that many when you think about how many people are actually in their tree, though. It's probably,
right.
I mean, they've probably got 1,500 to 2,500 people in it at least. I mean, it's a crazy number.
And Gary always says this, and this is, I think people just don't get this. Our top profit share earners have not joined our company yet. Like, it's people that are going to understand this at a high level. They're going to time block it for 2 or 3 hours, and they're going to kick all our butts because they're focused on it. And I think some people are like, well, the opportunity passed by, and this isn't a pyramid like some other companies.
Well, I think, and thank you, Josh, for one morning you asked a question. You said, who's going to hold me accountable to focusing on this passive income through this way? And just right then, immediately, I went and looked on my tree, and there were people that I didn't realize had even named me. So I felt terrible that I hadn't reached out and congratulated them, had conversation. And so, like, instantly I have this, holy crap, I'm missing out on opportunity and getting to know people better and sharing and pouring into them. So, something I already had on my calendar was to have a co-op. We call them co-ops. What do you guys call agents that you do deals with? Co-broke?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I already had it on my calendar for December to do just a career night or a, some kind of event with other agents. And I was like, let's just turn this into a thank you for working with us this year. You've been a great co-op agent, and we appreciate you. And then of course, adding in all of the people that are in our profit share tree and making sure that they're connected. This doesn't only help us in our community be connected, it just makes us all better. So I just thought I'd share that.
Who was the guy? I can't remember who it was, but there's an agent that off of every deal, he takes X amount of dollars, puts it into a kitty, and by the end of the year, every agent that's co-broke with him could have the potential to win that money. So it is an incentive to sell their listings. You guys remember?
There's a brokerage that
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that from a couple of different people in different forms. Like one person does like a big party at the end of the year for just the agents.
Right.
So yeah, there's.
And then they give away this massive check, and they always have a picture with whoever, even if it's like so-and-so from Coldwell Banker got the whatever check, and it's just an incentive to sell their listings. They get put in the kitty, and it's, I mean, a great way to do it. And then who doesn't want to sell a Star Realty Group listing because they could win 10 grand at the end of the year, or they could win, and it's just whatever the amount is, $100 a closing or whatever.
If you
price
it right, I bet
people were doing that here in Florida.
I don't have a problem with that.
If you price it correctly, they'll want it anyway. So yeah.
Hey, Jess, so, for both people that may watch this, tell people what your Facebook group is for profit share in case they're interested.
The Profit Share Mastermind -KW. It is only for Keller Williams agents or retired agents, anybody that is with us but then moved on to a different company. If that happens to happen, we welcome you back anytime, but you're not welcome to stay in the group until you do come back. So we have great scripts in there. There's a bunch of material from files and whatnot to share, to recruit from, marketing materials from mailers. So you name it. There's tons of stuff in there. But
there's tons of, you guys, I was playing in Command this weekend, and not that I can figure anything out. However, I could see lots of great templates for these purposes inside of designs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother thing I need everyone's help with.
Yeah.
What else?
Says, at the end, it just talks about money doesn't care. This is page 252. And basically, to sum it up, is, our obligation as humans is to raise enough funds to give as much as possible. Is the summing that page up. And to me, that's what it's all about, and I think that, if people didn't know us and they're listening to this, it may come across like, well, why do you want to make millions of dollars and this and that? Well, it's to be able to change the world through things that you find very, very important. And, and that's the whole point of what you're trying to do with funding your life. And on the other side of the coin, you may not know how much money you'll need. We could spend our whole life raising all these funds, and then you can spend every penny trying to get healthy, from a sickness. So, I think that, just like Gary always does, he ties it all up at the end of explaining why it's important, and living a big life and how that impacts future legacy and generations to come. So to me, that's always just awesome to read. Coming from our.
To also note, finally create the estate plan included simple but carefully considered entity planning, appropriate trusts and wills and strategies to minimize or eliminate inheritance taxes, and maximize creditor protection. The investment you make early on for the services of an excellent estate planning attorney will in the end make you money. And I thought the best example of that was Sam Walton from Walmart, who very early on had created an estate plan when he could least afford it. And as a result, at the end of his life, one of the greatest personal fortunes ever amassed was transferred to his heirs with little to no taxes paid. Millionaires get this, and so should you.
You know what family it was I was thinking of earlier? The Rockefellers. It's in the title of the book.
Oh.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to correct.
I thought it was somebody else.
Name.
I did too.
I wrote it down.
The Rockefellers versus the Vanderbilts.
Okay.
Is that should be a Business Wars, right?
Jeez. Oh, there's a new business war. It's TikTok and
Snapchat.
Snapchat versus Facebook.
Yeah. That'll be a good one for sure.
Just came
Well,
out.
you guys, do we want to make any new commitments from here, or are we going to take a break for a minute?
Oh, well, if anyone wants this book, I'll buy it for them. If you want to have a real estate conversation, there you go. Josh, you just bought 2 cases of them. Sounds like you'll do that in Middle Tennessee.
Sure.
I'll do that in Tampa and Orlando.
Yep.
What kind of commitment are you guys going to make to yourselves to start building the wealth that you say you deserve and you know you deserve?
I'm already doing it.
I wasn't talking to you. I know that.
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm just teasing.
I have listed my lake house that is a non-income producing property. And then
Any bites? Any bites? Any bites?
No, not yet. And
Womp womp.
it's seasonality, right? I mean, who wants, now it's 40 degrees outside and
That is a limiting belief. I saw
in
the most lake homes in
Oklahoma. Nobody wants to go
Connecticut,
buy a
lake
lake
homes
house.
in the winter, frozen.
You guys are used to being frozen. Doesn't
Well,
matter.
I'm committed to getting a lake house in the Midwest. Is what I was thinking.
Oh, I've got
Hey.
one for you.
You know, one
Deal.
of the things that I just did yesterday was I posted on our internal KW page that basically stated that I would let anybody represent me if they found me X, Y, or Z. So like keep telling other agents in your market.
And it's so funny because I was referred an investor client months ago from an agent in Northwest Arkansas. And I have called, voicemail, text, emailed this guy, never have connected with him. One time he answered and he was super busy and, didn't get back with me. And I have all of my notes of all of my follow-up. Today he answers the phone and I chat with him. And so I'll get with you guys to help me on how in the world. So basically he's looking to buy $1.5 million piece of dirt to develop apartments or multifamily units. And I'm like, oh, great. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that yet. So
You
that'll
can
be
refer
fun.
him to Nashville and I can help.
Sure can.
Anytime you have somebody that's like that's an investor and doesn't get back to you, the best thing to do, because they don't have time. They don't want to chit chat. They don't have time. All you need to do is send them a text with, hey, I found the best investment out there. Either you meet me tomorrow at noon and bring your checkbook or I'll bring mine. Let me know.
That's great. And at that point, I didn't even know anything about him. So we had never, ever connected at all. And then he said, well, you're in my phone. So I know we've talked before. And I said, yeah, you were too busy for me. He dies laughing because he's like, yeah, that sounds like me. So it's just timing. I think that's just the point of this story, right? We just got to keep following up with people. Always.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, we're sitting on a great opportunity, all our teams as strong listing teams. The mentality of do we want to buy it first should be in all our seller questionnaires. That should be the first question we ask. And then, to answer your question, Jess, I'm going to get 4 holds by the end of next year, 1 by the end of this year, 3 next year. And then we are going to probably buy quite a few flip properties just based on, we're going to buy them first if they want. And I think going in with just that change of mind, there's so many deals we've passed up on just because, so now I'm telling our listing team, when you go out, you think it's a good deal, they want out, we'll do a cash offer. And then I've brought in some other investors if they want to be part of it as well. I can bring them in on deals if needed, or our team. So
right. So why not just have your little pre-planned marketing campaign about you being your own iBuyer, right? Like just already having it in place and what it looks like and what the process looks like.
Well, I don't even think we have to have it that fancy, to be honest, because if we're getting the lead to begin with, we really don't have much competition unless they're in multiple agents. So I think that, we could get super fancy with it. I don't know if it's needed.
I for next year, my goal is to get 4 properties, 1 hopefully being my waterfront home for me, and then additional investment properties as well.
Is that income producing?
Yeah. Oh, it will be. Yep.
Awesome.
I can't be there all year. I wish I could, but
why not?
Yeah, so it will
Be on the Tony Baroni team. He's hiring.
These boys
That I
can't
am.
handle me or afford me. Sorry.
Can you
All
imagine
right.
if she was on the team?
I cannot imagine. It's like worst nightmare possibilities.
I think Tony and I could work well together. We had fun teaching
That was fun.
and drinking.
That's surprising, really surprising.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, it's been so much fun, and I look forward to seeing you all soon in Chicago before we know it.
Have a
Chicago.
I'll see
great,
you guys.
amazing day, everybody.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.